Good evening, everybody, and blessed be. This is your host, Aries Starwind, and welcome to another episode of the Community Coven. So tonight we're actually going to have a discussion. It's a pretty it can be a pretty sensitive topic, but I think it's really important, especially this time of year. And that's how Wicca incorporates itself into depression, and vice versa, obviously. So like I said, this is a time of the year where some people do suffer from seasonal depression. And me personally, I've suffered from depression for many years, probably since about middle school. And, I find this to be a really important topic to talk about, especially now. And me being a solitary witch, it's this time of the year is it can be tough sometimes because I've always even though I've been known as kind of like a social butterfly when I am social, I enjoy my time alone. So, when you're alone, especially for the holidays, different feelings and emotions can start to peek their little heads up and cause you to feel a little down from time to time. But I found this incredible article which pretty much sums it up exactly, for me anyway. And I think that a lot of people can relate to this if they do suffer from depression, especially seasonal depression. Like I said, when it's the holidays and, you go outside, and I live in New York, so, you go out, you see families walking around and, people doing holiday things, and, it can get to you a little bit. So I want to read this article to you. It's from somebody named Alex. And let me just read it and, and then I'll kind of discuss it afterwards. So here we go. Hello all. So lately I've been feeling a bit depressed. A feeling many of you might be familiar with, I'm sure. This can be a difficult time for many reasons, or perhaps no reason at all. For someone who is currently trying to integrate magic into their life, this can be particularly trying due to a lack of motivation or energy. So how exactly can one use magic or focus on their craft when they are depressed? I've put a lot of thought into this subject, and I've come up with a few ideas for myself personally that perhaps you may find useful. The first, of course, is using magic to improve one's mood. This includes asking assistance from guides or deities, as well as the use of herbs, incense, crystals, and ritual. This, however, requires a level of thought and motivation that perhaps can be a little difficult when you are depressed. Some find it easier than others, but even the smallest of spells can help improve mood enough to help you get through your depression. Connecting to elemental or divine energy can help, as well as daily affirmations. Knot spells can be simple but effective, as well as soothing. And magical teas or baths can improve mood as well. Magic isn't a solution to depression, but it can help give you a little boost to do what is needed. If you're depressed and you want to cast other kinds of spells, not just for your own personal mood, it may be particularly tricky to do. While you're depressed, your perception of situations and other people's emotions and perceptions can be slightly skewed. It's kind of like you're wearing rose-colored glasses, only they're depression-colored glasses instead. While the glasses are on, you perceive the world a little differently, and while you may not be able to take them off, you can be aware that you have them on. When you're depressed, your ability to craft your intentions for a spell may be more difficult. Let's say you want to create a luck and money spell. When you're not depressed, your intention may be money and luck will come to me honestly and naturally. This would make sure that the spell works, and not at anyone's expense. When depressed, you may create an intention more like, I don't want to be poor and unlucky anymore. This uses much more negative language and can often have the opposite effect. It is important to recognize that your depression may be influencing you and in turn your ability to use magic. It is therefore crucial to double and even triple check your spell before you cast it. Even get an outside opinion. No one likes a spell gone wrong, and if you're determined to cast a spell while depressed, make sure it's well thought out. Using energy to cast a spell when you feel as though you have no energy or your own seems like a daunting task. However, it is possible to do. Tapping into earth energy, grounding and centering is vital when feeling drained or one's personal energies. It gives energy to you, as well as to the spell you are casting. This sort of energy work is important for any witch, but especially one who deals with depression. It is also possible to work with other elemental energies or divine energy for spells if it's something you're more familiar with. Depression doesn't have to be a roadblock for those who wish to practice their craft. It is possible to work with your depression and still achieve your goal. However, it is important to be aware of your depression in order to do it. You need to understand how it influences you, and then you can work around it, or even with it, to do what you wish to do. Accepting its symptoms, its limitations, allows you to create a plan to avoid its pitfalls and achieve what you wish. Depression doesn't have to stop you from being the wonderful witch that you are. Blessed be. So yeah, I think that really is so accurate for it. It is for me personally, I know, and I'd love to know if it's pretty accurate for anybody else. Like I said, I've suffered from depression since middle school. I'm 32 now, and until I found Wicca, I didn't really know exactly how to deal with it, and I was always kind of against medications and the whole pharmaceutical industry on, evening myself out. So when I found Wicca, I was able to find more holistic ways and different ways like meditation. And one thing that definitely really helps me, because my depression goes hand in hand with being really, really stressed out. So aromatherapy definitely was a huge influence for me. Even tonight, I burned some peppermint oil, and I just immediately felt better, and that's actually what kind of made me want to kind of do a video about this, because I think it's good to have some positive input, especially this time of year, because a lot of people can get down. And there's less sunlight, so that has an effect on us. When there's less sunlight and you're not getting that good old vitamin A, then you tend to feel a little bit more down. And if there's any other solitaries out there, I would love to know what you think. Being solitary, and if you're dealing with depression, how you deal with it as well. Because like I said, I enjoy my alone time, but this time of the year, it can get pretty tough. So right now, I work personally with aromatherapy, meditation, and spending time to connect with my deity, with Hecate, because I feel that connection automatically makes me feel better as well. So when I do go out and, I see families walking around and, people getting in the Yule spirit, I don't feel like I did before I found Wicca. I went through a time period where I really struggled, going out during the holidays, because I would end up doing things by myself, and everywhere you go, you're going to see, families enjoying themselves and kids dressed up in little festive clothing and all this stuff, and you're kind of just in your regular gear and doing your own thing. But there's, one thing that's going to be really hard for me personally this year is I did lose my mother last year, so this is the first holiday season I will be having without my mom, and it's gonna be really tough to go through a Christmas without hearing my mom's voice or seeing her. But it's something that you have to learn to deal with, and you have to find ways to deal with that. And suffering from depression, you really need to find different ways to go about your holiday season. So yeah, I'm doing well so far. We got 2 big holidays coming up. We got Thanksgiving and we have Yule. So this will be a good little test for me and using my methods of dealing with my depression. And I would love to hear if anybody else does suffer from depression. I'd love to hear your story and maybe some ways that you deal with your depression in the holiday season. All right, so there we are, everybody. That was my quick little segment tonight. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you all got a little bit of information and a little inspiration from this article. And I will see you all later. God is blessed and blessed be.